job hunting inspired this story. It's called Thanks for Applying. All eyes were on the TV as the newsreader announced another round of job cuts. They were all from the spice factory to the north of Birmingham. Sam felt the dual rush of relief and discomfort as the figures were read out. 1,500 this time. Next month would be busy. Redundancy consultants everywhere licking their lips in anticipation. She was sat in the Gatehill Arms, surrounded by low-grade workers, cradling their pints and shots, all there to wipe away their memories of the day. Not one of them looked like the man on her contract. The news ended, and everyone went back to drinking in between low rumbles of conversation. Long day? Kingsley was hovering behind the bar, polishing glasses with a spotlessly white cloth. They're always long, Sam replied, taking a sip from her drink before scanning the room again. We should take a holiday. And go where? I don't know, Kingsley shrugged. Rome, Paris, Tasmania? The world could be our oyster. It's a nice thought, but neither of us would ever clear immigration. You're low grade and, well, I'm me. She looked up, trying to find him with a smile. Kingsley continued, cleaning his smudged glasses. They didn't sparkle. They never sparkled, no matter how much he rubbed. They just gobbled up light in the same way his bald head did. Nice man. In another life, they might have been living in a high-rise apartment in the city centre. Who knows? They could even share her dream 3-bed house in the country if they were high-grade enough. Sam shook herself from the fantasy and resumed her concentration. The man had to be here somewhere. Her information was never wrong, and there were only a few more hours before the contract expired. She took a deep gulp from her glass before banging it upside down against the bar. Don't you think you've had enough? Kingsley said. What's the matter? Afraid I'll jump on you? She leaned in, pushing her chest out. A useful weapon on the right person. It was disappointing when his eyes failed to be lured. Instead, Kingsley placed his thick arms on the bar, dipped his face close to hers, and as he did, she felt goosebumps rise across her body. What would it be like to kiss a lower grade? If you have to do it, he hissed, can you at least do it outside of my bar? I can't afford to clean up another one of your messes at the moment. Relax. Interviews only take a minute maximum. Quick and painless, they always are, she said, spotting the laughing man who was sitting amongst a small group of workers in the far corner. Kingsley followed her gaze before shaking his head and walking to the other end of the bar. A few office workers had arrived, glasses in hand, wanting a refill from the pumps. The man, laughing in the corner, was busy chatting to the people at his table. He looked perfectly at ease. That's what always gives them away, Sam thought. Employed people were never at ease, too afraid to be jobless, everyone working hard to avoid the sack. She felt bile rising in her throat. That had been happening a lot more recently. Every time she took a new consultation, in fact. She was just about to head over when the double doors swung open and Marcus Walker entered, wearing an immaculately pressed navy blue suit. The man laughing in the corner froze in his seat as Marcus spotted Sam. Ah, Miss Stevens, there you are. His smile was the homage to the Hollywood hunks of the 20th century. A few people in the bar risked a glance before turning back to their drinks. It wasn't unheard of for a high grade to slum it, but it was still a rarity. I have a job for you, Marcus said, sliding neatly onto a stool beside Sam. I'm already under contract. You'll like this one, Samantha. Could bring you a step closer to that house I know you keep a picture of in your pocket. Marcus's voice played up and down like an out-of-tune piano, but the words forced Sam to look at him. His face was light, but there was no sign of the usual smirk as he ordered a drink. Kingsley placed a glass of neat whiskey alongside a small glass of water in front of them before walking off. Go on, Sam said to Marcus, returning her focus to the laughing man. He was now fidgeting uncomfortably in his chair, and she could almost taste the beads of sweat that had begun to trickle visibly down the poor bloke's cheeks. Let's just say that the payment offered on this consultation would be enough to buy that house in your pocket twice over. There would be no need to continue in this... He paused to look around. Admirable profession. Who's the redundancy? Sam murmured, wondering how long she had before the man made a run for it. Actually, they've been on the news in the past few months, despite our best efforts to convince the networks that there are stories more worthy of their coverage. Sam glanced at Marcus just for a second, which was when the laughing man took his chance and moved towards the doors. Unfortunately for him, her reactions were faster. She pulled her gun free from its holster and charged across the room, intercepting him before he could leave. All conversations in the bar stopped, along with the man. Exit interview, Mr. Todd, Sam said quietly. Under Article 17 of the Unemployment Statute, you have the right to plead your case. I just need a few more days, the man spluttered, finding his voice. I've been short of work down by the canal. Prospective employer? Sam barked. A single tear erupted from the laughing man's right eye, falling alone down his cheek. Please, I have a fan. The shot made everyone's glass shiver. The faces of the workers surrounding her were grey and still as the man dropped to the floor. Sam waited until the body had settled before reholstering her weapon and returning to her stool. She signalled to Kingsley for another drink, but he'd disappeared through a door at the back. A moment later he returned with a clean mop and a bucket, moved to where the body was, and leaned against the bar, waiting. Gradually people turned away, and low conversations resumed. Marcus looked at Kingsley as Sam helped herself to his drink. Old friend? Old colleague, she breathed, the whiskey burning its way down her throat. Indeed. The front doors opened, and two unemployment officers entered. They glanced at the body, and then towards the bar. Sam reached for her wallet and flashed her badge at them. The men nodded before attending to the mess. Everyone else watched as the body was rolled, his face frozen in the echo of that final plea. Sam turned away, feeling the whiskey beginning to churn in her stomach. You were telling me about a redundancy who's been on the news, she said. Now there was a smirk on Marcus's face. That's that for now.